It is often easy to feel hurt and pain when someone says or does something horrible to us. But a little perspective change or a little understanding can change all that. If we are able to understand a person's backstory, it can often help release us from that vulnerability of being hurt. What do I mean by backstory? For example, you go home happily to your husband one day and you tell him, "My boss said that I did really well today." And his response is, "It was probably just a casual remark. You're so stupid to always believe it." So instead of getting some kind of encouragement and affirmation from him, he says something hurtful and insensitive like that. Now, of course, it's easy to be triggered and feel very hurt and perplexed by what he said. But if we look at his backstory, perhaps he hasn't been performing well at work for a long time, and that has been frustrating him a lot. And of course, as a man of the family, that bothers him very much, and it really doesn't help to see that you are doing well at work. And so when he says that he's not really thinking that you're stupid and it's not really to hurt you, those words came out of his mouth because he felt insecure about himself and in fact very frustrated at his own situation. Now, of course, I'm not saying that these are excuses, but instead of just reacting to what people say, think a little bit more about why the person is saying it, and the story behind the words becomes a little bit easier to accept. You might often find yourself sympathizing or empathizing with them. It is the same with, for example, a person who is always very egoistic and very arrogant, always going around boasting about what he's doing and what he's good at, and it becomes really annoying and almost offensive sometimes. But if we think about how insecure he really is inside and how empty he really is inside, and perhaps that is because he never got any kind of encouragement or compliments or affirmations from anybody. He grew up having to fight to be seen by people, having to fight for validation and value in the society. And we consider that, again, it is not an excuse for his behavior, but we begin to feel sorry for people like that. And so understanding a person's backstory can be very powerful in releasing us from a position of a victim, from a position of vulnerability, and suddenly we realize that the other person who is hurting us doesn't seem so powerful anymore. That little bit of understanding and perspective change brings us into a higher position of compassion, and therefore the ability to be wiser, calmer, the ability to forgive them, and suddenly we are the one in power.